I watch our colleagues in the mainstream media like MSNBC say that Trump brought up false claims of a white genocide and that it was a Oval Office ambush, and how dare he, it was disgusting. What is wrong with our colleagues? Are they bought and paid for by South Africa?
There are people all across South Africa who are subjected to terrible violence and terrible crime on a daily basis. And that is true.
Sure, of every race, right? Every race, creed, and color. There are bad people hurting good, innocent people. But two things can be true. There's also a white genocide.
That's correct. You're exactly right. Both things can be happening at the same time.
Occupy land, South African occupy land. That's who we are. Never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Suni will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
President Trump held a very tense meeting today with the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, in the Oval Office, focusing on those allegations of white genocide in his country. And what you saw right there in that video was President Trump playing a video of Africans calling for the mass execution of white Afrikaners. What president would ever do that? That's why I love this guy. Ramaphosa is denying the claims, emphasizing that South Africa is now a constitutional democracy where all citizens, regardless of race, are protected. My you-know-what. South African officials and experts have consistently denied there's any white genocide going on linked to the farmers there. Yeah, right. But Trump pushed back and literally did it in front of a drove of reporters in the Oval, and when he denied it, played that video to prove his point. Again, there's none other like Trump.
What you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
Whoa, for more on what's actually going down in South Africa, we're joined by award-winning investigative journalist and the host of the Going Rogue with Lara Logan podcast, South African native Lara Logan, back on the program. She would know what's happening down there. Lara, nice to see you. I love the fact that we have a president that is willing to sit down and go toe-to-toe with other state leaders, call them on the carpet in front of the press, not keep it behind closed doors like Obama and W and the rest did for years, but show the world what the hell is going on. And then, Lara, I watch our colleagues in the mainstream media like MSNBC say that Trump brought up false claims of a white genocide and that it was a Oval Office ambush, and how dare he, it was disgusting. What is wrong with our colleagues? Are they bought and paid for by South Africa?
Not by South Africa, but by the same interests that are leading South Africa on a path of self-destruction, right? Those are the same people that got our colleagues to slit their own throats and render themselves completely, useless in this country, right? As anything other than propagandists. I mean, they're not useful in terms of, people who want the truth.
No.
And I almost wonder if Trump wasn't playing that video as much for them as he was for the South African president, because, there is a problem here. I mean, I've seen that there are headlines, the BBC and others said that Trump ambushed Cyril Ramaphosa. And the issue here, Dan, is that Trump had to he wants to deal with the facts. He wants to deal with the truth. and you have a press corps that is aiding and abetting those behind these killings.
Correct.
By pretending that it's not really happening. Now, there is a genuine and very valid argument that there are people all across South Africa who are subjected to terrible violence and terrible crime on a daily basis, and that is true.
Sure, of every race, right? Every race, creed, and color, there are bad people hurting good, innocent people. But two things can be true. There's also a white genocide.
That's correct. You're exactly right. Both things can be happening at the same time. And also, this is the problem the South African president has. These things are not happening in isolation, right? It's not that you're just having rallies going on and then, and there's nothing else to support the genocide. The issue here is that the South African government, under Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership, has passed a law that gives them the right to expropriate this land without compensation. So when he's saying to Trump, oh, these people can't take the land. No, those people, the criminals, can't take the land.
Right.
But the South African government now can.
This is just like the mafia back in the day. You send your enforcers in, you burn the place, you beat somebody up, you whatever, and you sell to the top mafioso guy. When the cops come, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? I'm just an investor. I'm a businessman. Same thing. We're just the government. We don't control these thugs, as Trump called them, that are killing the white people. Oh, but we're the government that came in and took their damn land. You were talking about reporters that won't touch this, Lara. I loved what the president did here. Roll this clip. This is the president showing reports from real journalists or social media posts proving his point that white people are being killed by these blacks in South Africa, and they're all connected to the government. Play.
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. 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 Horrible death.
Death. Death. Death. I give the final word to you, Lara, on this whole white genocide that for some reason people on the left and the mainstream media think is not happening, and probably only because Donald J. Trump is the president. Go ahead, Lara.
There's no way that they don't know that it's happening. There's a plethora of evidence. There's eyewitnesses, family members who have survived beatings, stabbings, being burned with boiling water, being raped, 80-year-old women being raped over and over again, being electrocuted, having their skin torn off. I mean, I've been tracking this for years. And I will tell you, I've also known Cyril Ramaphosa for many years, probably 20 years now. I met him when I was a young journalist in South Africa, and he was a hero of the people because he was helping to write the new South African Constitution, and he was working hand in hand with the white South African government at the time. So it's very disappointing to see him basically run cover for these criminals, number one. Number two, for him to pretend that the South African government is now not, as official policy, endorsing the expropriation of land that, by the way, never belonged to anybody else. When the white farmers went in there, like the pilgrims in this country, right, there was no one who was living on that land, who had a title to that land, whose homestead was burned down and they were kicked off. No, there was no one there, and the land was wild. Plus, there are 30,000 some odd commercial farmers in South Africa who feed all the people in South Africa, black and white, and all the other races that live there. And if you take the land away from these people, what we've seen across the border in Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, what we've seen is that the land is never farmed again because it's given to cronies of the government. It's not given to people who can actually make it work. And what ends up happening? The people starve to death. There are also more than 130 race-based laws on the books in South Africa right now. If you're white in South Africa, getting a job is very difficult. Getting into college is very difficult. Getting a loan is very difficult. I mean, the economy is skewed against white South Africans. And for those people who say, well, they got to make up for the past, that was not the message of Nelson Mandela.
Exactly.
That was not the legacy, of him and the revolutionaries who fought for equal justice under the law and for equal rights for all people, regardless of race, color,
equality
or creed.
does not mean you get revenge for what happened in the past. Lara Logan, as always, we appreciate your great reporting and your input. Thank you, dear. Looking for news that actually tells the truth, not just the headlines they want you to hear? Then it's time to sign up for OAN Live. It's your go-to source for unfiltered news, sharp debate, and 5 hard-hitting political talk shows, including my show, Real America with Dan Ball. You can watch live anytime, anywhere. No noise, no nonsense, just real reporting and bold conversations that matter to you and your family. You can sign up for OAN Live now to see the truth unfold, and you can catch Real America every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Just go to live.onn.com. Again, that's live.onn.com and sign up today and start watching every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern.